I meet you on the street and I ask you, who are you? What would be your response? You see, we've been all given identity, features of ourselves. And according to definitions of identity, it is a fact of being, of just who you are. And as we live in this present state, we see that there have been so many identity constructs of the world from our birth. We see that from the first time we were born, we were given a name. We were identified by our race or ethnicity. Even from maybe the family that you were born into, you all got a last name. Religious groups, organizations, identities of certain careers that you've chosen, and most of all, identities of personality traits and beliefs. You see, the world is built all on that identities. Well, who are you truly at your core? Are you, let's say your name is John. Is your identity, are all Johns alike? Is your identity of just being called John who you truly are? Is your identity of, let's say, your race is, Asian, and you come from, an Asian background? Is that truly who you are? All of the cultural, representations and experiences that you were born into because of that? You were probably born into a certain country. Let's say you were born in Italy. Are you just an Italian at heart? Is that all there is to you? You see, I'm giving this to show you that everything is reflected on identity constructs of the world, and the patterns that's been going on. It's like our behavior traits and the way we live. There's certain expectations. Let's say if you were born of African descent, a lot of times there's certain notions out there. You come and let's say you're Nigerian and they immediately go to, you speak Nigerian, or maybe a certain culture of food of Nigeria, and everybody probably expects you to maybe know how to cook that food. Or let's say you speak of a certain language, and most people who, let's say you're Spanish, and you come from Brazil, and they probably expect you to know how to dance salsa, or you're Jamaican and they just expect you to maybe a lot of Jamaican Rastafarians, they expect them to smoke weed, That's sort of like a construct of the world. So I'm here to show you that you're so much more than these identities. How do you choose to label yourself? Are you restricting yourself from who you are? Is it to say that you were born in a certain culture, a certain race, a certain family, a certain religious group, that you're expected to be and to act just like these identity constructs of the world? Or you are to tap into, so much more than that of who you really are at your core. Now, I keep saying that to pretty much show you that each of us were uniquely made. Yes, we share similarities, like I said, even just speaking the language, and communicating. We all have to do this to be able to live together in this universe. But are you simply just like, I'm a Christian being, I'm expected to go to church? Now, let's say you're part of this group. Does that mean that if you come across a Muslim, or a Jew, that maybe one day they invite you to their church, you're curious about their religion. You might say, okay, let me go to their function, or, whatever tradition that they have. Or, let's say you're a great scientist, but you have this thing where you're into music or just different things. You're a man, and you like being out in the fields, you like building stuff, but then you still have this other side of you where you like being with your family, your home, cooking and doing all of these things. So it's pretty much to show you that now that you're kind of sort of awakening to say that I'm so much more than all of these identity constructs of the world. I'm such a multi-diverse being, The representation of your soul is so multi-diverse and multifaceted that you tend to let go of this limited perception concepts of all of these identity constructs. You were given a social security number from birth, and that was used to pretty much identify you. You grow up, you get a car, you have to get a driver's license. That's your identification process. So it's almost like we were given these certain identities to characterize who and what we're expected to do. But the reason for this topic is to pretty much shed light on you're so much more. You don't have to, to identify certain things, we have to label it, but I'm just here to shed light that stop just seeing yourself just as this limited identity construct. You want to call yourself, a person, a creature, a musician, a teacher, a Buddhist, but you're also a Muslim, you know how to speak French, but you also know how to speak Dutch. It's so many different labels. So just like tap out of so much of identifying yourself as just one-dimensional identity constructs, or what they've always told you. You don't even have to. If someone asks you who you are, you don't have to give these great representations of yourself. You could just describe, I'm a fellow soul here on earth, just evolving, learning who I am truly are at core, living in my bliss and happiness, It's a description of who you are at your core. So it's to pretty much show you that, get outside of just, feeling like you have to fit into all of these identities, as we're so multi-dimensional. Connect with yourself purely, and just be who you are here to be. Don't let all of these representations of who you're expected to be continue to let you just stay in a limited state of mind. The world is your oyster, so go out and become whoever you choose to be in this life, as this is your great stage of your evolutionary process. Enjoy all the experiences you had for, as it's truly made you who you were